let's talk Apple Vision Pro,
Mm.
because this has been a hot topic as well since Apple announced the Vision Pro. And there are so many hot takes on Vision Pro, and I always love it when they're in the tech community has like multiple hot takes on something that they have never touched and won't touch for 6 or 8 months from now. So Apple Vision Pro for me, when I saw the presentation of it, I was like, oh, my brain exploded, and I thought, this is like the iPhone before it, like the iPod before that. This is Apple yet again potentially introducing a paradigm shift in how we interact with our technology. And to me, that was the potential of it. Like what I saw, what I extrapolated from that was so paradigm shifting in how we interact with all of our stuff, because, you know, Apple's got the ecosystem, right? Apple TV, iPhone, Mac, iPad, all of the things that you use to consume all of that stuff, not to mention things that it will do that other things don't do. Suddenly, all of it happens on your face. and a lot of people are like, well, nobody's going to wear that on their face all the time. Well, it's going to be even more, you know, it'll make people even more cut off from the world. Who knows? And then the whole idea of, well, we've had VR since the 70s and VR hasn't worked. My comeback on that is that we've had VR, but in its infancy, it was proof of concept, right? That it could be done. And then over the past 10 years, we've seen VR technology grow. We've seen Meta buy Oculus, and then come with the Quest and the Quest 2, and now they're coming with the Quest 3 later on this year. But if I'm Meta right now, and I've got the Quest 3 queued up to go into production, and I watch that Apple Vision Pro presentation, I'm crapping my pants. Because the Quest 3 has a lot of is an improvement over the Quest 2. And in any other time period, that iterative jump would be great. It's going to look better. It's got a lot of different features that the Quest 2 didn't have, and it's going to have lower prices, higher resolution, better performance, all of the things that you would expect from an iterative generational thing. But it doesn't have the eye tracking of the Quest Pro, right? And the eye tracking and all of that with the Vision Pro is, I think, going to be the secret sauce that makes the Vision Pro run in a way that no other VR, AR, XR, whatever you want to call it, has been able to do. And so it's just, I'm very excited for it. People complain about the price, $3,500. To me, that is a lot of money. I'm not going to say that it's not, but I've spent $3,500 on a MacBook.
Yeah.
And that's an integral thing to my life. It's an early adopter price. There are going to be growing pains for the people who spend that money. There's going to be, you know, in 5 to 10 years, you'll be able to get, just like you can get an iPhone SE now, you'll be able to get a Vision right. SE, right? And it'll be, you know, last generation's processor and you know, a little bit less fancy. But to me, $3,500, if you think about it this way, the Apple Lisa was, I think, about $4,000 new, or $10,000. No, it was $10,000 new. $10,000 when it first came out. That was, and the Apple Lisa was the first computer to ship with a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get UI, right? With a mouse and all that kind of stuff. That stuff existed before, but this was the first major product that had it as part of the operating system. The Macintosh came in later, and there's a whole there's a whole history of the Lisa versus the Mac and Steve Jobs and his history at that company. But the Lisa was $10,000 in 1982 money, and that equates to about $45,000 in 2023 money.
A car.
Yeah,
you're buying a car.
A nice car, a really nice car, pretty much. So I think that you have to take these things into you have to take them in a context of what the thing is, because the people who are mad about the price, I think, are people who know they won't be able to buy it. And I don't mean that in like kind of a harsh way. I just mean it's a price that is exclusionary by necessity, only because I can't imagine the R&D cost for this, for the hardware, for the software. We're talking a whole new operating system running the M2 chip. I mean, you're going to have a computer on your face that you can interact with your eyeballs and your hands in space with no controllers.
Yeah.
We've not seen this before. No VR, no AR, no nothing has come close to the potential of Vision Pro.
So, a couple of thoughts. First of all, we should have put a banner at the beginning of this that we're going to talk about Meta, and Jason doesn't work there anymore, but that's okay. We're going to focus actually more exclusively on the Apple side of this, which is to say, this is a tried and true Apple, directive. We build the first iteration of a technology. It's going to be expensive and it's not going to do everything that you want it to do, but we're going to show you what it can do. This is exactly the way it was with the iPod. It's how it was with the iPhone. It's how it was, you said, the Lisa. I would even point to, even things like the HomePod, which have not taken off, but the concept around both the voice integration as well as the better sound quality, right? Where something that Apple, this is what Apple does. So the pricing notwithstanding, what I think is really smart about the go-to-market approach for the Vision is just how focused on entertainment it is, and focused on interactivity and what will eventually be gaming, but more than that, aesthetically pleasing, and leading up to, I think, less the approach of productivity that you've seen from other companies, and instead really just about taking the thing that you love about Apple products, which is how simple it is to enjoy the things that you love and to make it just work. And the fact that it's going to not only just work, but it's going to just work in a way that is much closer to what I think is in most people's mind when they think about VR now, which is Ready Player One, right? It's you're not going to be the avatar. We're not talking about the multiple worlds. I'm going to go live on World of Warcraft world. Azeroth. There we go. That took me a second. Yeah. But it shows you how little MMOs I've played over the years. But I do think that it's a really brilliant step one. With them knowing it's not about step one, it's about step 8. Because by the time the 6th or 8th iteration of this headset comes out, and we have multiple models, and we have much more price conscious versions, and the processing power with the M chips has improved dramatically over the next few versions, that's when they're going to go from a $3 trillion company to a $5 trillion company, because it's going to be that level of integration with other products, that seamless experience, and that sort of assumed cost now, the same we all just like, well, it's $2,000 for my new laptop, that's just what it's going to be. It's it'll be $3,000 or $4,000 again, but we're like, well, I need to be able to really feel like I'm in the Mission Impossible movie. I guess I'm spending $4,000 on this now, and that'll be normalized. And I think it'll be a much more I think it will not only drive the larger metaverse conversation much more quickly. I think it will also normalize people wearing headsets in a way that everybody now looks at and goes, well, that's ridiculous. When the iPad came out, everybody thought it was ridiculous to have this tablet. What am I going to do with this thing? It's huge and it doesn't connect to my phone, and it's ridiculous. I don't need, who needs that? And then, 3 versions later, it's like, what do you mean you don't have an iPad? That's ridiculous. So
yeah. And now you can get an iPad, like a 10.2 inch iPad, for $330.